now is Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Congressman, welcome to the show. What a day you have had a last few days. Let me ask you this. We were just speaking with Mark Halperin, who was talking about some of these concessions that Kevin McCarthy is making that ultimately at the end of the day, some of the 200 that are for him, 201, might be opposed to. Is there anything that you would say this is a bridge too far? Kevin McCarthy has conceded just too much.
No, ma'am, I wouldn't. I would say that Kevin McCarthy is doing exactly what he needs to do. Most of those things are things that I actually asked for myself and I had a meeting with then Leader McCarthy, and it's things that we do in Tennessee and in our state legislature, open records kind of things, transparency, knowing what you're voting on, fiscal responsibility, not spending more than you take in. It seems kind of crazy for Washington, but it's what needs to really happen, and a lot of it's inside the park stuff. The vacate the speaker if you have one person that opposes. The average citizen doesn't know, doesn't care, because it doesn't affect their daily life, and it really shouldn't. I think we need to put aside our differences, though, and get to work, ma'am. It's very apparent to me that they're very close to working something out, and I hope that they do that very shortly.
Okay, there are reports right now that there potentially is a agreement in writing that Congressman Norman has agreed to with Kevin McCarthy, and that they are very close to that. Do you know what those agreements may be?
Say that last part again, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't catch that.
That there's an agreement in writing from Kevin McCarthy that Tom Emmer has been working on, Congressman Norman, that they think that has brought people a little bit closer, maybe even Chip Roy and some of the dissenters. Do you know what that agreement may be?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it's dealing with membership on certain committees, and that actually a conservative voice is on those committees, where in the past that maybe they weren't allowed that opportunity. And I believe that's fair. I believe that is very fair, because that's the end of the party that I represent. I'm in East Tennessee, very conservative, fiscally responsible people, and that's their major concerns is fiscal responsibility, which is something that we haven't seen really out of either party in the last decade or so. So I would hope that would be something that we could all live with. Yes, ma'am.
So there is some concern, Congressman, that if Kevin McCarthy concedes too much, that he will almost be a puppet speaker, per se, somebody that has no power in the speakership at all. And you think about him even conceding to this motion to vacate, making one person, that Democrats could even be pulling this out any day, and he's walking on eggshells. Are you concerned about that it'll be a speaker with no power and you guys have the majority?
No, ma'am. The vacate the chair is something that's been in place for over 100 years, and actually Speaker Pelosi is the one who did away with that. So I really don't have any problem with that, and I don't have any problem with the other.
Well, it was a majority before, and now it's just one.
Yes, ma'am. But again, I think it would be political suicide for a Republican to side with the Democrats in any shape, form, or fashion to overthrow Kevin McCarthy. I just don't think that would be. I don't see a problem with that, and I think all the concessions he made are legitimate concessions, and I believe he believes that, and I believe it's going to move this country forward. I really do. I think those are things that we should all be for, and that it took this group to bring it to the table, and I'm glad for it. A lot of people are critical of what's going on, but this is democracy. You have on the Democrat side 100% voting for Pelosi. I mean, where else do you see that in the world? I'll tell you where. Communist China, the Politburo in Russia, and Cuba. And so they're lockstep every step of the way, and the Republicans aren't. They believe in debate. The last 4 years, ma'am, I've seen more debate on the floor of the House in the last 3 days than I have the entire last 4 years under Speaker Pelosi's reign of terror. So I don't buy all the negativity. This is what the founders envisioned, and it's going on right now, and it's democracy. There's not tanks in the streets. We're not tearing the building down. But this is the way it's designed to be, and that's the way we're doing it. And I salute Kevin McCarthy, and I salute my friends in the Freedom Caucus as well.
Okay, and you're right. There is a lot of criticism, even from Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who you mentioned. They are all aligned around him. He's gotten 212 votes now 10 times, we think. 212 in this last one. So at the end of the day, here's what he had to say about what's happening with Republicans. Listen.
Morning, everyone. This is day 3 of the Republicans not being able to organize themselves in a manner that allows the Congress to move forward.
All right, I only have about 1 minute left for you. But at the end of the day, Republicans like to say they want to be unified, but you guys aren't unified.
Yes, ma'am, but we're not in lockstep with leadership, which is what you see on the Democrat side. Honestly, I don't have a problem with that. They're going to have 435 members, and you've got 435 humongous egos, me included. And so you're not going to have everybody's going to agree, especially on our side. And the only way you do that is just you beat them into submission. And, you know, and the people on our side of the aisle aren't worried about getting sent off to the gulag or in a terrible committee. They're worried about their constituents and the people that sent them there to represent them in a conservative fashion. And that's exactly what's happening right here. It's democracy. It's not pretty, but it's a great system. And we are lucky as Hades to have it, ma'am.
All right, Congressman Burchett, thanks for your time this evening.